Wisconsin is unique in that we have the Public Trust Doctrine, which essentially says all water that is publicly accessible, that you can essentially float a stick down that has an inflow and outflow, is public water. So again, 99% of the water in the state of Wisconsin technically is public. For example, we get this all the time is we get a lot of complaints from people that, hey, I got some yahoos hunting on my pond on my property. It's got to be illegal. And it's like, well, if they kept their feet wet and walked up the creek and set up in your pond, they're absolutely legal to do so. However, if they were to shoot a bird and it were to fall on the land, they couldn't retrieve it because that would be trespassing. And so, again, there's one of those other considerations to think about in terms of, I mean, almost all the water's public, but you have to consider one, are you doing a good thing here? Like, are you giving waterfowl hunters a good name by trying to sneak in and hunt on this without talking to anybody or telling anybody? And you leave a situation or a scenario where you're potentially not being able to retrieve your birds and those types of things. But Wisconsin is unique in that almost all the water in the state is publicly accessible.
Yeah, that's a great point. So again, 15,000 lakes and rivers and, all kinds of marshes and sloughs and things like that. There are plenty of opportunities. Something that Taylor didn't mention is just to keep an account. Again, if your feet are wet, you're likely legal. You have legal hunting opportunities there. Just keep in mind to keep distance from occupied dwellings. So 100 yards from any occupied dwelling as per state law for discharge of firearms, that is. So just keep that in mind. So and Taylor brings up a great point as far as ethics goes. You may encounter, unhappy landowners that are going to try to kick you off of public land. I've had it happen to myself a number of times. Just use your best judgment as far as those ethics that come into play. You might legally be allowed to hunt in a certain spot, but like Taylor was mentioning, if you are to harvest a bird, is that going to land on landowner's property where you're unable to retrieve it? That's obviously not very good ethics.